Hi everybody, I hope you're doing well today. I've got a kind of a different video. We are going to be making over some of these shells, these oyster shells and these other shells. Some of them are just basically trash and we're going to be redoing these. I am painting over these with Victorian Lace by Fusion. And I'm going to probably go 2 coats on most of them. They have these little dark spots. Victorian Lace is a very good white to use. It's not too yellow. It matches pretty good with the color that's already in there. I'm going to do 1 coat on all of these in the middle. I'm not doing the outside. And you can see those dark spots. Some of them I may go over just that dark spot again. So I'm going to go and paint all of these, let them dry, paint them again, and then go over any dark spots that I need. And because Fusion is an all-in-one paint, I can very easily not have to put a primer down or anything like that. If you are using a chalk paint without a primer, I would possibly think about doing that just because it can be a little hard to cover those spots, and we want to make sure that we're covering all the dark spots. So in case you're wondering, I bought the really large shells online, and I'll put that link in the description, but a lot of these I got just when my husband and I went to a restaurant. We like oysters on the half shell, and I got them home. I boiled them for quite a long time, and then I soaked them in alcohol and I cleaned them up really, really well. But you'll find that the outside of these, even the ones that I bought, especially on some of the larger ones, are kind of rough and the texture's rough, but we take care of it all. They're going to be really pretty when we get done. And I am only painting the inside on these, and you'll see what I do, but you really need to kind of go over them. These are really, a lot of them kind of white on the inside, but we are going to be decoupaging on these, and we're also going to be putting some transfers on them. And of course, it's going to make the decoupage go on and pop. We're going to be using napkins, decoupage paper. And on the transfers, it makes it a lot easier for the transfers to go down. So here's these other ones, and you can see they have a lot of dark spots on them. So it takes about 2 coats, maybe 3, to go over this, just to make sure that you get rid of all the dark spots. And again, we're not doing the outside on any of these. So while those are all drying, I am going to start taking my napkins apart. All I do is I just take some Scotch tape and I go over the back part, and it lifts up the layers. This one has 3 layers, so I'm going to get it down to 1 layer. And this only has the 1 image, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of get an idea of how it's going to fit on that shell. And I'm going to go ahead and coat that shell with decoupage glue and varnish from Pentart. And I'm going to go just lay it in there how I want it. And it's, you know, going to overlap a little bit in spots. And then there's going to be a couple of little tiny bare spots, but that's okay. We'll get it to fit in there good. Now it is a napkin, so it's very delicate. So we kind of have to be careful with that. I'm going to go ahead and use just a baggie to kind of smooth it out. It's almost impossible on a napkin not to have any wrinkles. You definitely can't do the ironing method on these shells, but I do get it pretty smooth. and it does get a few little wrinkles, but that's okay. We can live with that. And I'm taking some little pieces and I'm filling in up at the top, and I'm trying to make sure that I don't have any really big gaps. We're going to be doing some stuff to it later that kind of covers that up. And I'm pulling off any extra napkin that I can now. And then later on, I'm going to go in with my finger sander and just get off any extra napkin that dries on there. And I'm going to be doing that to several shells and just making sure that I get them on as good as I can. And I'm going to go ahead and take my heat gun and dry these, because that will also help get some of the wrinkles out. But I'm just kind of pouncing on there with my plastic wrap or your baggie or whatever, and that gets a lot of the wrinkles out. So after I get them down really good, I'm going to go ahead with that decoupage glue and varnish, and I'm going to go over the whole thing and make sure we have a good coat of varnish on there so it'll dry nice and solid. And I'm going to do that with several other napkins and go through that same process. And you can see on some of these shells there's little bumps and things that just come naturally with the shell. So they're not going to be perfect, but you know, you're using a natural substance to decoupage on, so you know, you can't expect perfection. So we're going to go ahead and do several of these. Now on this one, I basically put it down, and I didn't really cut around it before I put it down because I wasn't exactly sure what would fit in there. So I got the image of the 3 deer in the middle, and I'm going to kind of tear off the extra, and then later I'm going to go ahead and go in and sand off any of the extra. So I'm putting the decoupage glue on here and going all the way to the edge, and that's going to give me a nice solid edge so that later I can tear that off and or sand it off and make sure it's good. And I'm just pulling off the extra right there, and later on I'll go in and sand that and make sure it's completely off. Okay, so now we have moved on to decoupage paper, which honestly was the easiest out of all the processes that I did with these. Just because it's made out of rice paper, it doesn't wrinkle. But I am using my water method, and I'm doing kind of a ragged edge. And the ones that have a white background, they just blend right in. I actually think this turns out probably the best out of all of them. This is probably my favorite one here, this little bunny. So all you're going to do is put your decoupage glue down. I put it all over the shell, and then I go ahead and just kind of press it down with my fingers. Like I said, this is kind of a bumpy surface, so you're going to have to really work to get it in there, but this works really, really well for these. If it's a really big piece, you may want to cut some slits in it or something, but I found they went down really easy. Like this one here is this round piece, and I still used my water method and had it frayed around the edges, but this is one of my favorites too. And this is where I'm saying if it's one big piece like that, you may get a few little wrinkles or bumps in it, and you may want to go ahead and like put some little slits or something. But I found I really didn't need to do that on a lot of these. They fit pretty well. They just kind of, you know, they're going to bend to the shape that you have. The rice paper doesn't wrinkle very much. It's very vibrant. So that's probably my choice method out of all the ones we do. And I just keep finding little pieces. I bet you have tons of stuff that you can use on these, because you just want to make sure the images fit inside the shells. And that's why I bought some bigger shells, because I had collected the other ones from just a restaurant, and they weren't that big. It's hard to get the really big ones, so I bought the big ones like this one, and I love it because you can put these images in there. And I made some of these where I didn't really make them ornaments. I just made them, you know, just decorated them, and the really big ones are like little trinket dishes or whatever, and I sold them all within 2 days. So people like them. But these are all going to be ornaments, and of course you could make them just to be little trinket things where you just, these really big ones where you just have them sitting there and people can put like their rings or whatever. I think that's what a lot of people use them for. But I have seen all over Pinterest. These are kind of popular there, and where they're making ornaments out of them. And if you've got a big tree, these big ones look really good on that. And it's a very different kind of an ornament if you gift ornaments to people or make them to sell or whatever. So I have never made them to sell, so I'll let you guys know how it goes. But based on the ones that I made for just trinkets, I think they'll probably go over pretty big. Alright, now that I'm letting all of those dry, I am taking some metal pigment powder by Pentart, and this is antique gold, and I'm going to be using some pigment fix is what you mix with it. This is just one of these little containers that I got at the Dollar Tree. I like to make it and put it in here as I'm using it. This stuff dries really fast, so I like to keep it covered while I'm using it. Now I will say you cannot keep it more than a couple hours, it'll dry out, but if you keep a top on it while you're using it, it'll dry out a lot less quickly. So I'm mixing up a decent sized batch. I mix it to the consistency of just metallic paint. You don't want to do it too thin, but again, you don't want it too thick or it makes it hard to paint with. So you're going to be painting with this, and it is kind of messy because it's very, very lightweight powder, but look how amazingly beautiful that gold is. Absolutely gorgeous. And the cool thing about this stuff, guys, is this is a one coat thing, so it makes very short order of your work. So I'm going to be painting all the way around these shells, different shells I'll be painting more gold on than others. These shells, I don't paint the back of them, except for like just a little trim later on. But I'm going over the decoupaged areas now with just kind of a stippling motion. And I'm trying to fill in just the spots I want to fill in. So you can see on this one how well that white background on that decoupage paper just blended in. And now I'm just doing a little bit all the way around. And honestly, I do a lot of other things to these, but you could stop right at your decoupage varnish on the top and this gold and call it a day, guys, because they're beautiful right here. But I do a lot of other things to them just to give you an idea of what you can do. But for sure, this by itself I think is really pretty. So, you know, at any point that I add all this extra stuff, you guys can go, oh, wait a minute, back up, you know, if you don't like that much stuff. But I'm basically showing you some of the little options that you can do. And, you know, gosh, these are just so much fun to do. And, yeah, they're just different. And that's why I thought you guys might enjoy this. And the napkins are great because you can see it covers that entire shell. So it's a really, really pretty different look. And I'm going over just the edge on that. Remember when I said I pieced it together on top? You're not really going to be able to tell I did that at all. And I'm just going over the edge barely just to kind of outline that. And on this other one, you can see I'm going over the bottom. That's where we don't have any paper. So that's going to outline that shell. And these aren't, you know, absolutely perfect. So they're not going to be, you know, perfect on each edge. So going over it with just an artist brush and stippling does a great job of just kind of highlighting it. Now this little puppy one, it had kind of that round oval look in the middle. And I kind of stipple the gold all the way around. But later on I go in and I fill it in all the way to that round circle. And I really like how that looked better. So that's something to think about if you have a shape that you want to kind of meet. Of course, you could have taken like different blues or whatever and matched that background of those puppies and did that. I think I just did it probably the easier way. But you definitely could do that. Now we're getting to the point where I am painting the back. You can see how rough these shells look. And these are the ones, for the most part, that are just, you know, I mean, they don't look good on the back. So this gold or antique gold metal pigment with the pigment fix goes on so beautiful, guys. And it covers in one coat. And look how gorgeous that looks. I don't think the screen does it justice. So I am going to go over all of these rough looking ones with this mixture. And it just takes one coat. And I'll also go over the edges. When you turn them over, the edges around the front are very jagged. So you kind of have to take like a little artist brush and then outline them. But I'm telling you, this stuff dries super, super quick. It sticks to anything. It's one coat coverage. And I have a multitude of colors. I am only using the antique gold on these. I'm trying to make this simple. But I have gold, antique gold, the fire gold. Don't let that name fool you, because it is actually a gorgeous red color, like a kind of maroonish red. Oh, it's beautiful, and I just got that back in stock, so grab it if you want it. And anyway, yeah, I think I have copper. There's just several different gorgeous metallic colors if you want to do them all different. So I go over the backs, and then like I said, the front is kind of jagged. So you have to kind of go over that with an artist brush. I'm using a bigger brush for the back, and I'm kind of stippling because these are very bumpy. You have to really get in there, but it only takes one coat, guys, and they're all done, and they're gorgeous, and I just think the back and the gold look kind of cool by themselves, you know. But anyway, like I said, you could definitely stop at this point. You don't have to do all the other things that I do to it, but you know, they definitely look pretty with just the gold and the decoupage paper and the napkins. You don't have to really do much more to them. Just put a little hanger on them if you want. And like I said, you do kind of have to use an artist brush. You can't be perfect. See how jagged that is? You just kind of have to fill in those little spots all the way around. And this gold works perfect with that, or any of the metallics would work. You could definitely use any other metallic paint, but it would probably take multiple coats, and I don't think anything is as shiny and pretty as this stuff is. Yeah, and this stuff sticks to anything, and it does not come off. I've done several projects where I've done like suitcases and stuff, and whoa, I mean, it's definitely worth the investment. It's not super expensive, and that powder and the pigment fix go a long, long way. You could get several different colors in one bottle of the pigment fix. So as you can see, I'm just going over all of those little raggedy edges, and I'm filling them all in. And on these, I did not actually put anything in the middle yet. I just decided I'm going to assembly line these, and I just went ahead and painted the middles a couple times with the Victorian lace, and now I'm doing the outside, and I'm going to go ahead and fill in the inside later, because we're going to be doing some different things. We're going to be trying some transfers and you know, just different things in the middle, and on the smaller shells, just you'll see. So now what I'm doing is on the shells that I just painted and didn't put anything in, this is some decoupage paper with this sweet little angel that I'm going to put in there. And I'm just using that decoupage glue, this cute little bear. These are the little smaller shells. These are the ones we just got from the restaurant. And I asked them there too, by the way, and they were more than willing to give me whatever I wanted. So this is a true trash to treasure with these. They would have ended up in the trash, and I actually think these are super, super cute. And honestly, guys, I bet you have little decoupage papers that are little pieces that you can definitely use for these, and they turn out really cute. You know, I mean, these would have ended up in the trash, so this is definitely trash to treasure because I think they turn out really cute. So anyway, I use this little bear, and then I think I have a fox, and then I have some later on a little church and some other things, and yeah, I mean, they turn out really, really cute. So I finished putting all my decoupage paper ones down, and now I'm going to move to transfers. And really, guys, if you have little pieces of transfers, wow, this is a great way to use them up. Yeah, they were not that hard to put down on this. The surface is curved a little bit and a little bumpy, but not that bad. And if you use something that has a top coat on it, like that Victorian lace, that was just easy. I just put a couple coats down, and I didn't do anything else to it, and I'm just transferring these transfers down. I'm using Partridge Lane and Winter Botanist. These are just some little pieces just to kind of go in there, and I think the transfers, they turn out fantastic because obviously there's no halo or anything. They just look like they're hand painted when you get done. And I did not try any of these guys, but I would guess that you could do inlays on this as well. I don't see any reason why inlays wouldn't work. But I'll tell you, the transfers really do. They look like hand-painted little shells. So, yeah, definitely get out all your little pieces of transfer that you have laying around. And this is a great way to use them up. So now what I'm doing is I am going around the back of these shells with this same gold, and I'm going to kind of fill in those spots there. And I'm just making sure I have a good amount of the paint on my brush, and I'm just stippling all the way around. And of course this just takes one coat, and it's absolutely shiny and brilliant and gorgeous. And I'm doing kind of a rough edge, but I'm still trying to trim all the way around. I'm not painting over the whole back of these because I think that they look good the way that they are. You could definitely paint the whole back if you wanted to, but I like them, just this way. I mean, everything's a personal preference, guys. You do what you want. The other ones, of course, were so kind of ugly and rugged. You really kind of almost have to paint the back of those, but I think these look kind of pretty the way that they are. So I'm going to go over all of these shells with the gold. So now I'm going to go around all my other shells that I had not done, that I did the transfers and put the gold around those. And now on that little oval shape that we had the puppies on, you could definitely take different colors of paint and blend that in. But I am going to just take that gold and I am just going to meet that oval shape. So what it does is it looks like it's on just the gold. And I'm just kind of stippling it on there. It's not perfect. And it will blend that in. And I think it looks really, really pretty that way. So if you have images that have a dark background like that, that don't have like the white, you could definitely do that on those. You could do it on the napkins. You could take, little pieces of images out, and then you could even paint the gold and then all the way up to that point. So now I have two of the smaller shells, and I've got this little angel and this little church, and they fit in there so perfectly. And because they're so small, they don't wrinkle at all. So these are super, super easy to do. And of course I, cut them to fit. I'm using my water method. And then when I'm done, I'm going to go around the edges with the gold. So now what I'm doing is I am taking Pentart pouring glaze. This stuff's amazing. You're supposed to pour it on, like a flat surface or whatever. And it's kind of thick, but it turns out crystal clear and super glossy. But because these are almost like a bowl, I am brushing them on, and I'm going to do two light coats with a fan brush because I don't want it to pool in the middle, and that's what would happen if you poured it on. You definitely wouldn't want to do that. So I'm going to do all of these ornaments. Of course, I've already gone over them with the decoupage glue, and you could have just left it that way. But this is going to make them super, super glossy. And I'm going to go over all of them with one coat, and then I'm going to let it dry completely, and then I'm going to do another coat. And it doesn't take long to dry. So I'm going over the transfers. You do have to seal in your transfers. So this is going to seal them in. And also, obviously make them really glossy. I can't even tell you, the transfers turn out so good because they look like painted. But even look at that bird was decoupaged on. You can't see the edges. So they look like little painted shells. So anyway, I'm going to go over these. Now this one, I kind of think because the edge was darker, I could have gone in with the gold on that. But, now then again, this was a transfer, and I'm going over all of those. That's what I'm talking about. I could have maybe gone in with the gold and met that darker image, but it turned out pretty. So anyway, you want to just definitely go in there with the glaze, because I think it, there's other things you could use as well. You could just take a glossy any type of top coat and do several coats of it. The thing about this pouring glaze is that it's a little thicker and it doesn't take nearly as many coats. So it doesn't take a lot of product. It doesn't take a lot of time. You could also put resin on there if you wanted to, and use a resin light. I've done that. But honestly, this turned out just as good. So now what I'm doing is you've got to fasten a top on all of these to hang them. So this is a little screw-in eyelet thing. And these shells were really hard to drill. Really hard. So on these, I just drilled, just go ahead and drill a hole, and then I'm taking my CA glue and I go ahead and make sure I put some glue in there. It has an accelerator. Now this isn't the brand CA, but it's basically the same thing. It's a fast acting super glue that has just basically a spray accelerant. And I use it on all this stuff. And I will link that. If I forget to link things, guys, please remind me, okay? So I put some glue down. There's another way to attach these. This is a big jump ring. I lay it in the glue and then I spray the accelerant. And I always put a little extra glue on top when I'm done, just to make sure that it stays in there. You can go ahead and use these pliers like I'm using, or tweezers. Eventually I end up just sticking my finger down there and getting glue on it. That's okay. It comes off really easy. Just kind of put some alcohol on your fingers or soak them in there. I just use dollar store alcohol and it comes off. So anyway, these are some jewelry bales, and I actually think out of all my ways to attach something to the top, this is my favorite. You just lay it in the glue, spray it on, and I put a little dab of glue on top and spray it again. I just like that extra, security, and they're not coming off. They're not coming off. No drilling necessary. I think this is the easiest way to attach a top to them, and I go ahead and I do this on most all of them. And I just wanted to show you different ways to do it. But I think this little bale works the best. And then I go in with my gold and I just kind of touch up where I put the glue, because it has like a little frosted look and you can tell it was glued. Now on these are a little different, but I watch how I just attach that bale to the back. I just lay it in the glue, and at this point I give up on the pliers or the tweezers. I just use my fingers, hold it down, spray it, try not to attach your fingers. If you do, if you do, they'll come off. And then I put a little glue on top again because I want to make sure that that stays. And I just put it in that little top portion, spray it down, and then I will go back in and touch those up with some glue. So, I'm not glue, paint, the gold paint. So now what I'm doing is I have all these little pieces of jewelry, little buttons, little rhinestones, and I am going to attach these to all of these little pieces with that same glue, and it works better than just about anything. I would not use hot glue on these. Well, just because this stuff's more permanent. It's not going to come off later. If people put this in their attic and it gets hot or something. And also, I don't know, this is what people use to attach jewelry, so works really, really well. So I'm going to go ahead and attach different buttons and things. This is a button that I got, I think, on clearance at Hobby Lobby. All these other little pieces, some of them I got on Amazon, some of them I got on Temu. They were pretty inexpensive, and I'm just going to play around with what I have and just put little jewelry on. Of course, you could totally not do this step, but I have them, so I'm going to use them. And, you know, just let your imagination go through your stash, see what you have. You could go a completely different direction and make these shells look more, you know, kind of rustic, and do some different kind of buttons and different kind of twine, things like that. I have these little pearls here, and this actually, they attach fine. I just put a bead of glue to go down, and then I put them in there and spray, and they fit just fine. And then I'm going to put this little kind of rhinestoney snowflake in the middle. And I just have a good time taking out my stash and adding it to these, and just keep going. So now I have these little rhinestones, and basically all I'm doing is adding a bead of the glue, and I'm going to just go ahead and just lay them in it, and then just spray them to attach them, and yeah, they're stuck. So these are probably a little bigger than I would like to use, and I have some smaller ones somewhere. I couldn't find them. But anyway, yeah, I mean, think about all the different things you could do. Again, you could have stopped at the gold, okay? You could have stopped at the gold and put the bail on and put it, and you know, but I'm like taking these over the top just to kind of show you guys different ways that you can do this, and you definitely can stop at any point. But anyway, like I said, I got all my little bling. If you can't use your bling at Christmas, I mean, come on, when can you? Okay guys, sorry, it's a little blurry for the rest of the video. I don't know why my camera did this, but you can still see what I'm doing, and you'll see the end result. So I am taking that same decoupage glue and varnish, and I am stippling it around the edges, going all over the shell, and yay, glitter! This is gorgeous Paint Couture German glass glitter. This is the pure silver. Unfortunately, with this blurry picture, you cannot, it doesn't give this stuff justice. This is not your Walmart glitter, folks. This is real German glass glitter, and it is sparkly, okay? I have just restocked all the colors, and I have quite a few colors, guys, so you're not You're not limited to silver and gold and whatever. I've got every color you can think of. I'm going to only use silver and gold in this. But yeah, see how sparkly that is? And my picture's blurry. I apologize. I have no idea why my camera does that sometimes. And I don't know until I'm editing, and there's not a lot I can do about it. So you can see what I'm doing, but I just want you to see that glitter. Is that not amazing? You know, and I think as far as German glass glitter goes, the price point on this is very good, and this stuff will last you a lifetime. It will. So anyway, I'm going, unless you glitter all year round. I'm mainly a glitter at Christmas person. So, I mean, if you can't put glitter on things at Christmas, when can you? All right? I mean, really. So I'm going all the way around the edges and adding the silver. And of course, I'm just dusting off any extra that gets in there. And I do end up with some glitter in places not supposed to be because I'm in a hurry. But you don't be in a hurry and you won't have those issues. Okay, here comes the gold. Wow, right? Just wow. Now, this is just a brush that I'm using to brush off any extra glitter. And, yeah, I should have, we're going to have some other steps later on. And I should have made sure my area was more glitter-free when I get done. But I still think they turn out okay. So anyway, I'm going to go around. I think I did about 4 or 5 of these in the gold. I mainly use the silver. And all I'm doing is I'm just stippling it on pretty thick around the edges. Because the edges on these are so ragged, it kind of fills them in a little bit. But that gold is so pretty from the metal pigment paint that you definitely could for sure not do the glitter. But I figured, why not? Why not? You got it. You got to use it. So anyway, like I said, you guys could stop at any point and make these to taste. All right. So now what I'm doing is I am going over these with something. I'm probably not pronouncing this right. It's called chameleon varnish. And what it is this is a silver translucent, and I'm also going to be using the bronze, and you basically just kind of go over it, and it gives it a very iridescent, really glittery, glistening look. It's transparent when it's done, but it's just going to add another level of kind of glitzy stuff to it. And really, this is where I think little pieces of glitter got on there. This stuff doesn't have little pieces of glitter when you see the end result. It's very transparent, but it is glistening, which is not glittery. It's not glittery, it's glistening. But if you see glitter, it's because there's loose glitter that got in there. But this stuff is really, really cool. And it does add like a whole nother level of shimmer to the project when you're done. So I'm going to go over quite a few of these with the silver, and then later I'm going to go in and there is a bronze color, and it really looks gold putting on. They were out of the gold, so I went ahead and got the bronze. I don't have a lot of this in stock, guys, because I was just trying it out. And here I think I'm putting the bronze on, and you can't tell the difference while it's wet, but you can tell when it's done. It has more of a gold. I wouldn't call it bronze. It looks like a goldy, shimmery look to it. It definitely does not look dark at all. It really looks gold. So these are all the gold ones that I'm putting on. And I just want to try out different stuff. I love playing with different things and trying it out, letting you know what I think. I was a little worried at first, but look how transparent those show up. Isn't that pretty? And like I said, I'm not focusing real good, so you guys cannot tell how transparent they are. When I get done and that chameleon stuff is dry, I go over it with one more coat of the pouring glaze, because I want these to be super, super shiny. It does not cover up that chameleon varnish, but what it does is it makes these things super, super, super shiny and glossy, and that's the look I'm going for when I'm done. Definitely could have stopped at that. Definitely could have not done the pouring glaze, could have just done the chameleon varnish, because that's super glossy. But I'm just adding all these coats. If you ever see these on Pinterest, they're super, super glossy. I think a lot of people use resin on them. I think this is the equivalent look, and it's a lot easier. This is all water-based products, and they dry really quick. You don't have to wait overnight for the clear resin to dry. You don't have to use a resin light. You can just use this stuff, and it does basically the same thing. Yeah, I think it's easier because I've done them before. I've done it both ways. But anyway, I'm just going over everything with one more coat and trying to make sure I don't glob it in there and there's no big drip. The pouring glaze doesn't really drip or run because it's pretty thick. But you can definitely brush it on. You don't have to pour it on. In this situation, you definitely would not want to be pouring it on because it would, it's like a bowl. It would be just like a bowl of it in the middle. And then after I do all that, I'm going to wait for them to dry completely. And we are going to just start looking for different ribbons to go on this to match whatever I'm doing. All different kind of velvet ribbons that I have. And that's about it. That's all there is to this project, guys. I love how they turned out. Like I said, you may find a different stopping point for you. You may not want to put the chameleon varnish on, but it does give it a very glistening look to it. You may want to not use glaze. You may want to stop at just the decoupage varnish because it's also glossy. So anyway, I used all these different products. You definitely don't have to use as many, but I do think it gave it a really cool look when we're done. And you let me know what you think about it. So after I put on all my ribbons, this is what we get. I hope you guys like them. And like always, guys, if you need any of these products, you can get that on my website, rehatchdesigns.com. The link will be in the description. I sell IOD, Fusion, Paint Couture, Pentart, Sweet Pickins Milk Paint, JRV, Roy Cycle papers, and decoupage papers. And free shipping after $50 and $9 flat rate shipping. Fast and quick shipping and really good prices. So if you need any products, take a look. And I hope you guys like these. I love doing them. They're very different. And if you guys got any value out of this video, I would greatly appreciate it if you would give me a like and share it out, and subscribe if you haven't done already. I'm trying to get all my videos out on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and I'm actually going to be throwing in a few extra videos and start a series. I'll let you know more about that my next video. So you guys take care, and I will see you again soon on Saturday, and have a good day or a good evening. Bye-bye.